Hi, my name is Angela Evans, your 6th District Council member. And winter is officially here, so I thought it would be fun for us to come out to the Salt Barn and talk about all the work that it takes to get our streets cleared and help us be on our way throughout our daily lives. So right now I'm here with Albert Miller, the Director of Streets and Roads, to tell us a little bit more about all the logistics and what it takes to keep the city running during a snowstorm. So Albert, let's start with this great pile of salt behind us. Can you tell us about that? How much is in there? How much does the barn hold?
That's a 3,000 ton barn, and right now it probably, I would say, right at 2,200 tons, 2,300 tons are in there. And then we have another facility out back there that we have an additional 1,500 tons in.
Okay, so let's start with a little bit about the snow plan itself. So can you tell us a little bit about that? And I know we have certain ranks.
Right.
Roads are ranked and 1 through 4, but how does that happen? Like once the snow starts, just tell us what you do when you kick into action.
First, I'll give you just a tad bit of history why we have one.
Okay.
And back in 77, 78, I don't know if anybody here is old enough to remember that, but I do. And we had a very disastrous time with our streets and stuff as far as getting people around. So they came up with a snow plan. And that snow plan, as you said, we have 4 different ranks. We have 3 different service levels. And those service levels start at level 1, which is a 1 to 4 inch snow. And that's our normal routes that we do, the ranked routes that we will do. And then as it gets up to a level 2, we add the streets that the council asked us to add. And then once it gets above 8 inches or more, it's a level 3, and then we try to plow all streets if we can get down them.
Okay, so the more snow we get, the more roads are added.
That is correct.
Okay, and that is because, why is it that way? Why not just keep plowing?
Because of the last 2 winters, and we had to do it last year too, because of the amount of snow that we had. So we decided, the council asked us to come up with service levels. So that's what I came up with, was those 3 different levels of service. So what it does, in a 1 to 4 inch snow, it's not very significant. At least it's not for us. But once you get above 4, it starts getting a little bit more, and we're adding more streets. And then when we get to the third level, it actually is, like I said, we try to do every street that we can.
So how many trucks do you have on site here?
We have a 46.
As one comes right by.
Yeah, our water quality people help us too.
Okay.
And also Parks Department, they help us in giving us some truck drivers and to supplement when our truck, we don't have enough for our trucks, but we have 46 total.
Okay, all right. So does everybody meet here when the snow comes, or is there someplace else?
This building 2, which are building 1 right behind us here, that's where we call Snow Central.
Snow Central, okay.
That's where we all meet. We have 2 meetings a day with all the supervisors, one before the first shift, and then we have one before the second shift comes in.
So Albert, what are some of the challenges that your drivers face during a snow incident?
Well, the fact that it's snowing and everybody's told to stay off the roads and we have to be there, that's a challenge. And the cars that are out on the roads, that creates a big problem for us. And also, parked cars on streets are a big challenge for us. I mean, if we can't get the truck down it, then we can't get the streets plowed. So that is a huge problem. And plus our 24-hour shifts, it gets wearing on you after about the 5th, 6th day. That's very tiring on our group, but they do a really good job. Our whole team does.
All right. Thank you. We're over here at the Emergency Operations Center with Tim Brandoe, and he's going to tell us a little bit about how we can better be prepared for emergency situations, whether it's weather emergencies or just regular other weather or non-weather related emergencies that we have. So what do you have for us, Tim?
What we have laid out in front of here on the table is representative of what we recommend you have in a home preparedness kit. Preparedness for disaster begins at home, and to me, if you're not comfortable that your family's taken care of and you have basic supplies and capabilities during a disaster, especially during power outages, we recommend a variety of items to keep in the house. Here's some representative pieces of it. Obviously a fire extinguisher, You know, cups and or dishes if you're not going to have water, potentially not be able to cook. Something to turn your gas line off, and everybody should understand where the gas cutoff is in case there's a disruption that's damaged to gas infrastructure.
You know, we talked about that because so is there a normal or regular location or a general location where people's
The gas
lines
shutoff is usually going to be adjacent to the wall of your house, one of the walls in your house where the main gas line comes in. It's a large gray box. That's the key thing to remember. There's a butterfly valve, which if the valve is in line, it's open. In order to shut it off, you turn it 90 degrees. Normally a good channel lock pair of pliers will be able to turn that. It's actually a good idea a couple times a year to maybe go out there and hit it with a little bit of spray oil. Sometimes people have painted over them, but it's usually going to be quite identifiable box tucked up against the side of your house. If you don't see it at first, look in your hedges. If you have hedges, I've seen a lot of these there. So, because especially if you have any damage to your house that ruptures a gas line, the best thing you can do is to shut that gas supply off before it gets into your house. And that's why I recommend keeping a strong pair of pliers around. One of the other important things to be prepared for during disaster is loss of power also. And if you don't have power, not only are you not going to be able to cook, you're not going to be able to get information. So we recommend every single household have a battery backup powered NOAA weather alert radio. This will give you emergency alert information, not just for destructive weather, but a variety of other significant disasters. We can actually use the same system. For example, if there's been a hazmat accident that could impact, we can actually send out messages through the National Weather Service over this radio. So it's not just destructive weather.
Where would we get one of those? Are they
These
just
are
in
available
regular
commercially.
stores?
Most any home improvement place. Most of the major grocery chains have them. And for those of you that have had weather radios in the past, and they used to be very, very annoying because they'd go off all night, the new ones have technology to locate where you're at, and they will only activate for a threat that is in your county.
Okay.
So unless you override that, but so it'll only go off for when you have a problem in your county.
Okay.
You leave them plugged in the wall, but it has a AA battery backup, and if it loses primary power, it will shift over.
So we still need that, even though we might have all those apps and stuff that
Yes,
your
ma'am.
phone screams at you.
Right,
Okay.
because if your
Okay, we still
phone
need it.
fails, and you don't have power to charge it up again, that actually goes to another thing I recommend people keep around is 12-volt chargers for their electronic devices. So worst case, if you don't have power at home, you can at least go to your car and charge it up. We recommend also keeping a battery-powered radio, okay, for regular information. It's either being put out by the city or being put out by the media. Key on battery. This one actually has a crank function so that even without a battery, you can crank it and get enough operating time, because that's how we're going to try to get, you know, guidance and direction from the city and the authorities out over the airwaves. If you can't watch your television because you have no power, try to always have a battery-powered radio. We recommend obviously backup batteries, first aid kit, for hygiene, wipes, regular baby wipes. You know, if the water's disrupted or there are issues where you can't necessarily trust the water, at least you have something to do some basic hygiene with and clean up. Okay, the important things. Obviously, if you have, gotta have the paperwork done always. If you have small children, you know, or that are still in diapers, you know, try to always kind of, you know, keep some around. What you don't see on this list is food and water, and obviously we recommend food and water. I just didn't put it on here.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Tim, for
No problem.
letting us know what we need to get besides that good bread and milk that everybody talks about. Thanks.
And if you have any questions on other preparedness issues and tips, the city, my office has a website. It's called www.bereadylexington.com, and we have links to checklists about how to create these kits, also tips for winter driving, winterizing your home, and other just generalized winter safety, especially this time of year. That's www.bereadylexington.com.
All right. Again, thank you.
Sure.
And next up, we're going to go over to 311 and talk about what happens when you all call with your concerns about the city. So we're here at Lex Call, also known as 311, with Kendra Carter, and she's going to tell us a little bit about how 311 can help us through the snowstorm and any other issues that you have when you call in. So thank you for joining us today. So tell us a little bit about 311 in general, and then specifically how you can help us and people that call during the snow events that we've had, since we've had a recent one of those.
Okay, Lex Call 311 is your one call for City Hall. We are the call center for urban county government. You can call in requesting city services such as waste collection, to report a pothole, and many other things.
Okay, so you're the first line of defense to call you.
That's correct.
Okay, all right. So what kind of phone calls did you get during the snowstorm that we just had, and what did you all do with those calls?
Our number one request would be for salting or plowing the streets, of course.
Of course.
We enter a service request that is routed automatically to the Division of Streets and Roads for their attention to the matter. The other types of calls we had was if shelters were open or transportation requests.
Okay. And do you all have that information available, or do you send them to someone else to get information, or is that like for a transportation? How is that handled?
Transportation was limited to medical personnel at this time, transport to the hospital and that sort of thing. So we would capture the information, enter it in, and then someone would contact them back and set up the arrangements to be picked up.
Okay. All right. So does that go to a hospital or the sheriff's office, or who do you send those calls to?
The sheriff's department was handling them, and the local LPD was doing backup for them, taking mainly medical personnel, doctors and nurses, to the different hospitals.
Okay. So what else would you like people to know about what 311 does and the people that work here?
We do a collection of services. We put in service requests again for the different divisions, waste management being one of our big ones, and then the winter is affected with the suspension of yard waste. Snow events can impact collection days, so we would let them know when their makeup day is and that sort of thing.
Okay.
We handle, again, pothole requests, traffic signals issues, or any department you need to speak to in the government. If you don't have the number, then we can get you connected.
Okay. So you are the person to call, or
Your one
311.
call.
311
Yes,
is the place to call when you have any kind of question about the city and problems that you're having.
That's correct.
Okay, so while constituents can also call me, I think I hear you saying 311 is also a great place to start.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, again, thank you so much for being here. And I want to thank all of my guests today for helping us understand more about the snow plan and how we can better prepare for weather events and other events through severe weather. So again, thank you, and I hope you join us next time.